Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about homeschool, and that's one of the biggest topics in the Full-Time Family Life RV group is what do you do with kids when you're out on the road? And today we actually have Jessica from Exploring the Local Life and my wife Melissa from Hippie and the Tech, and today we're just going to go over what are we doing. So Jessica, you mentioned that you do something called unschooling. What is that?
So basically, we don't follow any particular curriculum. We don't follow any real schedule or anything like that. We are totally driven by what our kids' interests are. We follow how they learn, which we have learned over the years is not by sitting down and saying, all right, we're going to learn math right now. It doesn't work. So what we do is we kind of like watch them. What are they into right now? What drives them? If they start talking about rocks or whatever, we just follow that path as far as it'll go. We'll watch videos on it. We'll go out and look at rocks. We'll find out everything we can about it until they look at us like they can't take anymore. And then we're like, okay, they're done.
Wow. You know, that's actually really neat because I had a hard time in school growing up because I couldn't stay connected. I was always getting in trouble because I was bored, and I thought the schoolwork, I didn't feel like I needed it, and I wasn't into it, and I just couldn't get interested. It wasn't until I figured out that I wanted to get into audio that I could actually pick up a book and read it because it was actually what I wanted to do. So it's more in line with that. They figure out what they're interested in, and you move forward.
Yeah, we basically support it. Sometimes it can be hard because sometimes we're like, okay, we're really tired, or because we're not the one setting like the learning schedule up. It means that sometimes it's the end of the day, we're exhausted, and that's when they're like, oh my gosh, I was watching a video and I got so excited about it. And they start talking about it, and we're like, okay, I guess we're doing this now.
Right.
Okay, all right, let's do this.
Right.
That's really cool. So Mel, what are the, and I hate saying it like this because I probably should know how we're doing this, but how are we doing it?
Well, our style, that's the thing. We're not really in a style. We would more or less call it an eclectic, I think is what we kind of decided on. We don't really follow any particular curriculum, but I do follow guidelines according to the state of Ohio, which is where we're originally from, which is just agreeing to like 900 hours of like your basic studies, math, language arts, science, and all that stuff. But, we kind of, pick and choose what works for us and what doesn't, but
right on.
That's kind of what we do.
So for somebody in our full-time RV family group, one of the two biggest questions is insurance and homeschool. For somebody that is actually getting ready to, embark on their new journey, or they're just, they're a couple years out and thinking about it, what's some of the advice you would give them as far as, freaking out, curriculum, what, because those seem to be the two things. What curriculum and I am freaking out.
Yeah. So. First off, don't freak out. I know it's easy for me to say, but just take a deep breath and kind of rethink what you're doing because you are starting to RV. You're already kind of doing things a little bit different. And if you're like, oh my gosh, okay, we have got to get Monday through Friday, we've got to start at 8 and then we're going to end at noon. And once you hit the road, you're going to realize travel days are shot. Like, you're not going to be able to get that 8 to noon or whatever done. Then you're going to get somewhere, you're going to pull up, and it's going to be this amazing place that you want to be outside all day. And before you know it, you're like 2 to 3 days behind,
When do you find time to beat yourself up for being behind?
Usually at night, right when you're trying to fall asleep, that's when you start really...
So it's normal to actually be like, I'm ruining my kids.
Yeah.
Oh,
what am I doing?
That's a daily... I don't think it matters if you're homeschooling or not. You're always feeling like you're messing up your kids. That's just a given.
So, but are you really?
No. No. They all end up... think of all the kids that you've ever met now as adults. Like, we all went through all kinds of different things. Some were homeschooled, some were traditionally in a great public school, some were in private schools, some were in all the athletic programs, some of them were gifted programs, and in the end we all kind of find our path.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing with this type of lifestyle, I think we are giving them kind of like a head start in thinking more outside the box and finding out who they are, and having a little bit more confidence, I think, than maybe being a little bit more traditionally everything, because you're kind of following a very set system that may or may not fit you in life.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that, there's people that are in the group that are wanting to get started and understand what it takes to get started, and they're not really sure. So what are some of the things that they need to be concerned with and things that they shouldn't concern themselves with? What should they put their weight into?
Sure. They should probably be aware of what their homeschool laws are wherever they are from, and make sure that they are adhering to them in some way, shape, or form. There's some states that are a lot more lax about it, like Texas has nothing, no regulations, no anything. And then there's other states, like I'm going to throw out Connecticut, I'm not really 100% sure, but that will have, I know it's more stringent than Texas. They're going to have a lot more homeschool laws versus something like Texas. So that's something to research. And you could always change your domicile. So if you're not happy with where your home state is, like what the laws are there, you can always change it up.
Don't feel like you have to gather all of your stuff at first, I think is a big one too. Because when I first started out, I felt like I had to have all of this stuff, and then I ended up not even using a fraction of it.
Yeah,
I actually ended up trashing most of it, and then I kept switching it throughout the year. And that's the thing when you're doing it for your first year, which is what we're doing. We're still in our first year of homeschool. So it has been an roller coaster. It's been a knockdown, drag out fight. I've literally thrown curriculum in the trash, started over from scratch, then pulled it out of the trash and went back to it. We've tried so many different things. So it's it is nerve-wracking. Don't be nervous. Everybody gets nervous. Everybody gets scared. But there's so many resources out there, and there's so many different people that will tell you the same thing, which is just relax. You know what I mean? Just number one, you're doing this for a specific reason. Stick to that reason, and don't overthink it too much.
So there's going to be times when you and your kids kind of have negative interaction? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. That is what I'm saying.
Okay. Nobody wants to comment on that, though, so...
Well, we usually do it more in interpersonal interactions. That sometimes is a little bit, but as far as schooling, no, because we unschool, so there's a lot more freedom. We're not like, okay, we're gonna do like history right now. We don't, like, we do history when it just naturally flows into our life. Like, we'll go on a hike somewhere and it happens to be like a battlefield or something. There's our history lesson. Like, we kind of just do it in our everyday life, so we don't have it like separate, like learning and living. It's all just one big mushy mess of a life.
I like that though.
Now, moving on to like how the kids interact with other kids. I mean, you can hear all the kids in the background right now. We have representing three different families and two different bucks right now, trying to be quiet but doing their best. What do you see out there as being a full-time family when it comes to homeschooling? People feel like they're pulling their kids out of school. They're not having any kind of interaction with kids. Is that really the case?
Not really.
No. So basically, I read a few days ago, actually, there's a really good point on an account that I follow on Instagram. I can't remember the name of it, but what they said was basically when you're in a sticks and bricks sort of public school situation, no matter what it is, it's not necessarily that, there's so much social interaction because they're making all kinds of friends, but more or less that it can be a forced sort of, friendship or a forced sort of social situation. But when you're out on the road, your kids know who they are because they're more able to be themselves. They don't feel as much peer pressures. They can be more confident, and so they know who they are and they know what kind of friends that they like, and they don't feel like that they have to like somebody because somebody else does, and it keeps the peace, to make their school day better. But so I guess, I don't know, that's what I enjoy about it, is that our kids know who they are, they know who they like, they get along with pretty much everybody, and they can walk up to anybody no matter their age. They can be like 2 or like 16 and be like, hi, how are you? Do you want to play? Do you want to hang out? And I love that about them. They're never intimidated because of age or anything. So
what do you tell the mother that haven't homeschooled before that's just scared to death about screwing their kids up?
Well, you're probably not gonna. We kind of see the end result even with us as adults now. Like, think about your childhood, think about your friend's childhood. And even now when you meet adults and you find some that were homeschooled, you find some that were in the gifted program, we find some that were like not in the gifted program. At some point, like, we all find our way. So I think even though we're doing things differently and maybe it's not what everybody else is doing, and even though some people are like, I don't think that's going to work, I really think in the end that, you know, just like we did, that our kids are going to find their way. And I think, like Mel was saying, that they're going to have that extra confidence, though, because of the way that we are raising them and the way that they're meeting different people and interacting. There is a difference. So I think in that sense, they might have a little bit of an advantage with confidence and just being able to interact with and engage with different people of different ages and backgrounds. So you might find yourself in a situation like we did when we first started hitting the road with the kids. It was a little bit harder for us to transition. We had a really tight-knit group of friends and other homeschool groups that we like hung out with and did so much with, and suddenly we packed up our kids like within a month, and we found ourselves like in Georgia in a park with no kids, nobody anywhere for miles and miles and miles. And it went like that for about a year. It was kind of like a rough start for us. It was only until we really got on social media and really started just kind of putting ourselves out there as a family and being like, hey, we're here. Anybody with kids around? Anybody? Anybody.
Right. Seriously.
Seriously. We need other families. And then as we started connecting, then it became, now it's almost like, all right, we are full of kids all the time. Like, we need a,
Right.
Robert and Jessica need a break here.
Right.
We can't be like the kid hangout central all the time.
So about 75% of the Full-Time RV Family Life group are dreamers, people that are looking to get into this lifestyle. And right now they're just planning. And so we hope this will help. And how do we find you guys? I mean, you guys have a YouTube channel, Instagram channel, Patreon, or
that too.
You have Pinterest.
Yes.
I mean, you have everything. You have a Yahoo account.
No, I think that's like the one thing we don't have.
So how do we find you guys?
Sure, we're exploring the local life. If you search anywhere, we are going to come up with our YouTube channel and our blog, Instagram, and all Twitter, all the things.
And so on your Instagram, I saw you have a download for like a quick start homeschool guide.
Yes, it's a road schooling guide. So basically, if you have no idea where to start or just totally freaking out about it, that'll give you kind of some ideas to hopefully relax and to give you an idea of where to get started.
All right. Thank you so much. That really helped out a lot. I had no idea what unschooling is. I thought that's what we were kind of doing because we weren't really taking them to school. But if you have any questions, please comment down below and we'll try to answer them. Jessica's actually a part of the group, so you can tag her if you have any direct questions about unschooling. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.